Hello and welcome to another beautiful episode of Healthy Living, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Alhassan. Now, waste management stands at the forefront of environmental stewardship and public health. In our increasingly interconnected world, the responsible handling of waste is paramount. Improper waste disposal poses a significant threat to both the environment and public health. The consequences of inadequate waste management extend beyond aesthetic concerns, delving into the realm of health implications. Improper disposal of waste materials not only pollutes the air, water, and soil, but also gives rise to breeding grounds for disease vectors, leading to the spread of various infectious diseases. The intersection between waste mismanagement and public health is undeniable, making it imperative to adopt sustainable waste management practices that prioritizes environmental conservation and human well-being. This episode of Healthy Living today explores the multifaceted landscape of waste management, addressing the challenges, opportunities, and the critical role it plays in sustaining both our environment and the well-being of communities. Additionally, it underscores the specific perils posed by hazardous waste, emphasizing the profound impact of community health and the pressing need for comprehensive waste management strategies. To walk us through this today is Environmental Health Officer, Sanitarian Egene Tijani Eneojo. You're welcome to the studio once again today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Ms. Olamide, for always having the interest in environmental health practice, which is one of the way to reach out to people and as well reduce the disease burden that arises from improper management of environmental activities.
It's definitely very important to care about our environment because we've come to realize that our environment has become our health. If we do not keep a healthy environment, you also told us the last time you were here, if we don't take care of our environment, we cannot stay healthy. Now, let's talk about waste management. Give us an insight into what it is.
Thank you so much once again. When you talk of waste management, first of all, what is even this waste we are talking about? There are so many things in your premises that you are no longer using after a long period of usage. When you talk of waste, a layman defines waste as an unwanted substances. A layman defines waste as an unwanted substances in an environment which ought to be what? Discarded. But in environmental wise, nothing is a waste. Because what you see it as a waste to you can serve as a raw material or as a product to another family or another product. So when you talk of waste, professionally, waste can be defined as any unwanted substances that may not be needful to you at that particular point in time, but can serve as a raw material to other family or other people within the vicinity. Then when you add management, waste management, you are talking of control.
Yes.
You are talking of transportation of the waste. You are talking of proper collection of the waste. You are talking of the treatment of the waste before the final disposal of waste within an environment. And all these things need to be put in place for us to live a healthy environment. Then when you talk about waste, you said waste. Yes, waste management is one of the factors that environmental health must look into it critically because of its dangers when not properly managed. When you talk of waste in the environment, what are those waste? You buy food from market. After you cook, there are leftover food. Those ones become a waste, right?
Of course.
You buy different leathers. You buy in the course of your sourcing to buy items from the market. You get different leather. You buy pepper, you collect leather. You buy onion, you collect leather. You buy tomato, you collect leather. You buy fish, you collect leather. You crayfish, carry your own leather. At the end of the day, you go home with bulky of waste. And when you remove all those things, the leather, how do you manage them? How do you dispose them? It becomes an issue.
That is why that even if they don't give us this leather, the nylons, we would insist.
Yes.
We even say double it.
Double it. In fact, triple it so that you don't tear.
Oh God.
Whereas there are ways for you to manage this waste, for you to reduce, reject, refuse, recycle this waste at the point of collection. You refuse. Well, if you want to buy tomato, you get your own bag from house. You buy tomato, you put inside the bag. You buy tomato, onion, pepper, they put it inside one, you put it inside your own. As a result of that, you are rejecting their waste and manage the one you have for yourself. So this is one of the main management of waste from the point of collection.
Okay.
So if you don't collect it from the market, it will not be much for you at your own premises.
But the question I want to ask is waste really avoidable?
Yes, waste can be avoidable by limiting how you collect waste. One, if you don't make use of waste, if you don't collect waste from the market, you have totally avoided it from the person, right? If you carry your own bag, polythene bag, to the market, you have avoided too much load of collection of waste from the market to your own house. So as a result of managing this waste, rejecting the waste from the source, you are automatically rejecting waste to your own premises. Because at the end of the day, this waste will gather in your premises and become an eyesore, become unsightliness, become littered. As a result, your environment becomes so dirty.
So what are the kinds of waste that we have? Because some persons will be wondering, so if nylon is a waste, maybe there are other types too.
Yes, we have different kind of waste.
Okay.
Generally, we have solid waste, we have liquid waste, we have gaseous waste.
Okay.
When you go into the broad of all these things, you can talk of radioactive waste, which can be generated even as a result of these activities. You generate waste. In the course of electronic activities, we have electronic waste. In the course of construction activities, you have construction waste. In the course of medical activities in the hospital, you have medical waste, right? In the course of a lot of things, in the course of you going to toilet, you have human waste. You understand? In the course of agricultural activities, you have what? Agricultural waste. In the course of domestic activities, you have domestic waste. So all these things put together are different kinds of waste that are expected from our activities. Either at work, in the office, you generate a lot of waste like paper, like plastics, like water, bottled waters, like all those other things that you make use of in your premises. You buy food inside takeaway. Where do you discard the takeaway at the end of using the make use of the content? The takeaway become what? A waste. So those things are different kinds of waste that we generate in the course of our daily activities. Are you talking of the vegetable woman in the market? After removing the leaf, all of the remaining stem, how do they dispose it? Those ones become a waste. All of those ones that are into snail business, when you remove the snail, what happened to the shelf? It becomes a waste, right? In the abattoir, after killing slaughter the cow, right? The bone become a waste. The skin, in some cases, become a waste unless you use it for other products. Which I told you earlier that the waste, what you consider waste, can serve as a raw material to other family.
You know, I was going to go there that these things we now see as waste, aren't they things that can also be valuable if we look at it with a second eye? You know, for instance, we dispose of plastics. In other climes, they use these plastics, they recycle them and use them to do something else. And I think sometimes ago, I had an interview with some students who were doing some science projects, and their project was basically born out of waste materials. And I was looking at it, I was like, this is waste that people just dispose and use to create problems, more health hazards. But here we are, some children turning them into science projects. You know, it was quite commendable.
You know, that's why in the course of explaining what waste all about, we talk of recycling. What they are doing is recycling, right? What they are doing is reuse.
Of course.
Making use of the waste, what you think to be a waste, into another usable product. I've seen a situation whereby somebody collect this bottled water and use it to build a house for himself.
I don't understand.
Just bottled water, all this empty can, he collected them.
That won't be a strong
Collected them and then make a house for himself. You get this tire. I've seen a situation whereby they use tire for seat. If you go to event center, you see the use of tire as a seat. You see it either in form of using it to play or in form of sitting on it. You see it as a table. Those things are waste to wealth. They, instead of disposing those waste, when those waste are left in the society, rain fell on it, especially the tire, the empty bottle water. If rain fell and have access into it, mosquito dwell there and breed. In return, mosquito come back to you and give you malaria.
True. I think we need to cultivate more of the habit of turning our trash to cash. I think I saw something like that in the state. Thereabouts. Anyway, now let's talk about some of, because you just mentioned that if rain falls on that kind of plastic, it could be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And during the introduction, I also talked about waste being breeding ground for lots of vectors that begin to affect our health. Now let's talk about the impacts that this waste have on our health, mostly in our communities, both on short-term and long-term basis.
Now, in the short-term basis, when you have these heaps of waste, one of the characteristics of waste is, if I'm coming here with a bottle of water, after drinking my can, I drop it here. The next man coming will think that this is a cycle for dumping of waste. The next man, after drinking, you drop it there. Before you know, that premises become what? A dump site for waste. And as a result of that, unsightliness will come from there. Other nuisances will come from there, right? An eyesore will come from there. Snake can come from there. Mosquito can grow there. Cockroach and flies can come from there. Then accidents can also occur from there, because waste comprises of either solid, liquid, and gaseous, as explained earlier.
Yes.
That waste you see there might be iron there, there might be needle there might be razor there might be glass, this aluminum glass that break, or anything that is sharp object within that premises. Once those things find themselves there and mistakenly you pass there, you can enjoy yourself. So these are some of the short and long-term impacts of waste in our premises.
All right, so how does this improper disposal, or because I think before we talk about the improper disposal, what's the best way to dispose before we now look at what improper disposal does to us? What's the best way to dispose some of this waste? Because you mentioned quite a number as the category and types.
When you talk of way of disposing waste, there are different ways of disposing waste in our premises. Formally, you look at burning of waste, which is everybody practice it even till today. But the effect of burning the waste in our environment has caused a lot of harm than good, which is what we talk about greenhouse media or climate change.
Yes.
As a result of you burning your waste, smoke from that place go into the emit into the atmosphere and react with the water molecules, which will return fall back to you as a rainfall, which is acidic rain. Those things have shot out the stratosphere, and as a result of that, sun is now directly hitting on us, which is as a result of our own negligence or as a result of our practice, which arises either from gas plants, arises from those petroleum products, industrial activities, power housings.
Well, let me tell you the words on the streets for that expression of why the sun is hitting down on us so much. They say God is angry at Nigeria.
God is not angry at Nigeria. What is affecting us is as a result of our own negligence, as a result of us not knowing the implication of what we are doing. So people look at burning as one of the best way. No, waste can be used to recollect a land that has been abandoned for long. Like during the construction of road, a truck go to some places and receive sand, right? Excavate a ground for them to fill the road to be proper. after a long time, that place become what? So deep. So waste can be collected and reclaim such land, and you can build on it without issues.
Oh, really?
That is, we talk of sanitary land filling. You use it to sanfill a land. Waste can be managed or controlled through the use of a proper construction of incineration. This thing is being constructed, and the waste is being done and burning through the control of a pipe.
Okay.
Now, waste, when you talk of waste too, collection of this waste can also serve as what? A recyclable materials to another product. Just like what you see Avoidable are doing. Go to house, collect your waste, bring iron, bring rubber, bring this. They are collecting those things and gather them to reproduce another thing and still sell back to you. Now, some of these things like phone and battery,
Yes.
that is car batteries. When a man uses battery and the battery is off, how do you dispose it? Some of those things can be recycled into another product.
True.
And you can still use it. It can be used to charge your phone at home, which many people are doing it now. So the same waste we are talking about can also be used to what? Waste to energy through the turbine treatment, right?
Of course.
This same waste can be used to generate power, to generate light in our premises through the use of what? Steam plants. It's a power plant that can convert this waste into an energy in our premises. And as a result of that, you create job opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes. As a result of that, you minimize the waste that is being disposed. As a result of that, waste in the environment will be what? Reduced to the barest minimum. As a result of that, waste that's meant to be blocking the drainage, which can lead to flood, will empty themselves. You will be emptied and be what? Reused into a recyclable product. So these are some of the things we considered to be best way of managing waste in Nigeria and all over the world.
You know, this is quite interesting and somewhat thought-provoking, because most persons, like the sand filling thing, I didn't even think of it. Like, after, you know, taking out sand from a particular piece of land, the place might be deep, that would probably not even come to mind. And, you know, that's actually a very great way to actually make very good use of the waste. But then, I feel like waste is a collective thing that we almost involve ourselves in. Waste disposal, proper waste disposal is a collective thing that we must all do. So how do we begin to get the community as a whole to, you know, properly dispose their waste?
Now, waste, in line with Nigeria Constitution, is primarily the responsibility of area council to manage waste and other environmental sanitation issues. Now, for community to dispose their waste properly, one, you have to go there and enlighten them. These are practices that has become a norm to them. It has become a norm. They use it, they do it, they burn their waste, they generate waste, they dispose it anyhow on daily basis without them know the implication of their actions. So they need to be informed, they need to be orientated, they need to be aware. Sensitization has to be the key to make sure that the community know the implication of what? Improper disposal of waste.
Of course.
Many people do not know that waste bin is a requirement of every premises. When you come to a premises and ask them where is your waste bin, they will bluntly tell you that government has not provided waste bin for them. Whereas waste bin is like your generator. If you don't have electricity, which is you paid for, which is also generated by what? The government. If you don't have it and there is need for you to make use of light, would you power your house?
Of course you will.
So if you have if you are generating a waste, every household must have a waste bin. Then the landlord, if you are not the owner of the house, the landlord can also have a central dustbin, which will be used for a central collection of waste within his own premises.
Yes.
Then government on their part, which is the local government now, the area council authority, will engage the waste collectors which will come to your house and collect the waste, either on daily basis or every 3 days or weekly basis, depending on the volume of waste you generate from that premises. And as well, you pay for the waste you generated. So when people go to market, they buy a lot of things, you see them, when they come to house, the waste becomes so plenty for them. And when you ask them to pay for the waste they generated, they refuse to. They will be angry with you that it's the responsibility of government to pay for the waste. No, it is you, an individual, who is responsible to pay for the waste you generated. And if you do not pay, the law, National Environmental Health Practice Regulation, specify the punishment there, either as an individual or a corporate body. So people need to know this, that okay, I must have a dustbin. Yes, it is important. So if you don't have a dustbin, go and get one after watching this program, because your waste bin is like your generator.
Generator might even be secondary use. Maybe waste bin is even much more of a primary usage, because some persons will say, I don't have generator in my house, I probably don't need it. I'm just trying to talk about how important, from what you've explained just now, talking about how important the waste bin has become. Now, let's look at some of the implications of improper waste disposal, especially to the community and to our health.
Now, like I explained before, when you talk of the implication of waste in our environment, in their community and our health, when a heap of waste is gathered here, which contain feces, that is human shit, which contain razor blade, contain different kinds of iron, contain kitchen leftover or waste from the kitchen, you see that, one, there will be odor nuisance from that place. And the presence of odor nuisance make you to be what? Uncomfortable. The presence of odor nuisance can also make you what? To lose your appetite. The presence of odor nuisance can make you to start vomiting because of inhalation of odors that you do not know about. So when you talk of this waste in our environment, it can lead to different kinds of disease. Do you talk of cholera? Do you talk of diarrhea? Do you talk of malaria? Do you talk of relapsing fever from rats? Do you talk of Lassa fever that arises as a result of the activities of rats? Do you talk of leptospirosis, which is caused as a result of you mashing a dead rat?
Oh, really?
There are different kinds of disease that arises from the improper waste management.
That actually got me. Really?
Yes.
So there's a sickness that arises from stepping on dead rats?
Yes.
Oh my God.
When an infected dead rat died and you mash on it, you get what we call leptospirosis.
Leptospirosis.
Yes. It's a medical terminology that arises from the mashing of the dead rat. Wow. So all these things are factors that arises, implication of us not managing waste properly. Even from your own house, you have leftover food. Maybe you don't know you have a leftover food. You cover it for 3, 4, 5 days. When you enter the kitchen, the first thing that comes to you is the odor, is the smell. Then you begin to, where is this thing coming from? Then you start opening everything till you discover that, oh, this food has been here. You understand? So the cholera, as a result of flies go to the waste, then come back to house. Cockroaches go to the waste, then come back to house. The same rats go to the waste, then find their way into your house. They can spread this virus on the table as a result of carrying them on their skin. They spread the virus on the table. You may not know. Then you come and sit down, be thinking you want to enjoy yourself, which is served under unhygienic condition or unhygienic environment.
Anyway, I know there's still a lot you want to share with us, but let's quickly go on the break, and then when we return, we'll continue the conversation. All right, viewers, let's go on a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Welcome back, viewers. You're still on to Healthy Living, and we're reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja, and we're still discussing waste management with Sanitarian Egene Tijani Eneojo.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you.
So before we went on the break, you were talking about some of the health hazards that can stem from improper waste management.
Yes.
So what's the best way? What best ways do you think people can, or what best practices can people go through to avoid some of the health risks that are associated with improper waste management?
One of the best ways, just like I said earlier, reject the waste. Reuse the one you can reuse.
But you know, not all waste can be rejected, right?
Yeah, like the issue of paper, the issue of leather from markets, the issue of all those vegetables, leaves. You can tell them, okay, please cut it for me, right? Cut the leaf, even though you don't want them to slice it for you. Cut the leaf. Automatically, you have rejected the stick that you're supposed to have added to your waste at home.
Okay.
So some of those waste can be rejected. Recently, you see the budget the president presented at the National Assembly.
Yes.
And some House of Rep or House of the Senate are complaining that it's an empty box. The president, in his wisdom, wants to do away with waste, paper waste. That's why everything now go into what? Electronic form.
Okay.
At the end of the day, he submitted what? A flash, right? And that flash has been distributed among the committee members. By doing so, he has rejected waste.
Absolutely.
And reduce waste. Even reduce the cost of production of such material. So I give it to him. It has cost a lot of cost, and as well reduce waste that will arise as a result of the paperwork. Definitely, you cannot print all the paperwork freely without problem, without error, without correction. So if you print two and one is to be used, what happened to the remaining one? It becomes a waste.
True.
So waste can be rejected, waste can be reduced, waste can be recycled.
Rejected, reduced, and recycled.
Yes.
I like that, the way they came in ours. All right, now let's talk about other management strategies when it comes to waste, particularly for vulnerable people, the vulnerable population, because they tend to be more exposed to some of this waste and, you know, brings a lot of health hazards to them. So what are the best strategies to handle this vulnerable population?
The vulnerable population, like I said, if those in authority can reach out to the community, because the vulnerable people are living within the community. Information is the key.
Okay.
Information is the bedrock of transformation. If you are not informed, you will be deformed. So many people are not informed. When the elite of the community have started rejecting the waste, reducing the waste, automatically it will improve the vulnerable. The life of the vulnerable, the people that do not have much in the society will also be what? Improved.
Okay. I'm trying to figure that out totally, because, you know, some of these vulnerable populations now that we talk about, first of all, their environment may not be so conducive. And the kind of waste you listed, you also talked about other kinds of waste that exist, away from just the paper waste, the nylon waste. You talk about even some airborne waste, radioactivity, and all of that. Some of these people are exposed to some of these things. So what strategies are going to help them, mitigate the health risks that are associated in this line?
The strategies is for government to reach to them.
Okay.
The people in the community should also reach to them. There are influential people in every community. There are religious leaders in every community. They should talk to them. Majority of them are not aware of this, the implication of waste. And once you are not aware, it automatically affects you. And they say ignorance is not an excuse. So people should try as much as they can. It's not only the government. The leader of the community can as well do it. In every state of Nigeria, we have a state waste management board. Their responsibility, one of their responsibilities is to reach out as well to the vulnerable. Enlighten them as well, provide for them. The NGO can provide facilities for them to be disposing their waste sanitarily. The government in their wisdom can carve out them. Not everybody will be able to pay money for waste collection. Somebody that have not even fed, how do you expect the person to pay for waste collection? So government in their own wisdom can also collect their waste free of charge. It costs government nothing to do that.
Okay, at least that way they'll be giving more persons employment, like you said earlier. So there's this thing I saw recently, or sometimes earlier this year or mid this year, a particular country actually stopped the use of paper bags, nylon bags, whenever you're buying things from any store. So if you want to buy something, you come with whatever you're going to put it in from your house. The country actually banned the use of paper bags and all of that to reduce waste. Now, do you think there could be sustainable ways that we can do that in Nigeria and help us, mitigate the health risk that stems from improper waste disposal?
One thing about Nigeria is that everything is doable. We have a lot of policy, but implementation is the issue. Like that country, things are working out well for them. They obey law and regulations. But as in the case of our own country, for you to talk to some person, they will ask you, who are you? In fact, they will trace you to your fourth generation. Who are you? As in, just tell me. Do you know why? Some are pompous. Do I say pompous? Or they live their life flamboyantly, that you cannot tell them anything. Recently, I see on the news that one House of Rep slapped somebody. You can imagine that. So who are you to stop politicians? What authority back you? Who are the custodian of the law? Is it not still them? So for us to get it right, leadership is the problem. We also look at the leadership of the country. And how are they also doing to bring down what they are seeing overseas into our own country? We see a lot. A local government councillor will have about 10 security men. For what? Those things are waste. If you are doing well, if you are providing the needful development to the community that elected you, why do you need security?
The way they say that people always want to barge and invade people's privacy,
That is it. So if we can stop it in Nigeria, that's why I said everything is doable. But we must have to start from the top. Let them be convinced that this action is bad. Let them be convinced that, okay, we are going to start rejecting you buying items or bringing items and take it home in order to mitigate or reduce the amount or number of or volume of waste you generated. So everything is possible. But once that law come now, it needs serious enforcement. Have you ever seen when they say, do not urinate here?
Of course.
And you see somebody standing there to urinate.
And nothing happens.
Now, are you thinking of the mental evaluation of such person? So one is to change our own attitude completely.
Absolutely.
We have to change the way we think, the way we act, the way we see things. We are running to other countries for relax. In fact, Nigeria is the best country ever. What we are lacking is leadership. And for us to accept to do things rightly, individual has to stand up, then our leaders have to lead the way. Recently, I was watching on a television. I give it to Lagos State. They're trying. A woman went to school to drop her children. When she was coming back, she drank pure water and threw it away carelessly. Mm-hmm. They arrest her. They arrest her immediately. The magistrate court is there. They charge her to court, and she was found guilty. She don't have the money to pay to bail herself. Then she faced community cleaning or whatever. So by the time she sweep about 10 kilometers for that day, you stop going to where you are going. All your activities must stop. If you are to report at work, you will not go. Then if you are to even eat or do anything, you will not do. Psychologically, you will be affected. At the end of the day, the woman came out and apologized that she will never, and even tell Lagosians not to drink anything and dispose it. That they should look at a strategic waste or approved center for waste disposal for you to drop the waste. From school, when I learn about this waste, if I drink pure water, I take it to my pocket until I reach my house. If I bake groundnuts, if you want to buy groundnuts, you buy groundnuts and be breaking the peel and be littering the environment. Is that normal?
At all.
Instead of you to gather the peel, when you finish, use the same ladder and pack the waste, then take it to dustbin. You'll be littering everywhere. You want to show yourself, say you shop groundnut. So those things are attitudes that we need to change. So bringing the idea of reduction in use of plastic, use of leather can be what? Achievable. But then the leaders must also lead by what? Example.
All right. Like this example you gave of Lagos State, I think literally for a very long time, there's always been that phobia there that in Lagos, if you dispose any trash randomly from a moving vehicle, you'll be arrested. In fact, maybe the bus driver would even tell you, you can't even do that to start with, because they'll categorically tell you you're going to delay all of us from moving to wherever I want to go to. Maybe that's a very good way to, you know, start it from the top. That's talking about a top to bottom approach now. Maybe if other states can actually look in that direction.
Yes. Like Abuja too.
Exactly. But that would now be that it's just an aspect. So what about gas emission and all of those things? I know that those things actually also pollute the environment. So what about those other measures? And I feel like they are even faster when it comes to hazards to our health than other type of disposal means. So what about those options?
One of the things that we should look at in terms of gas emission, you know, at the beginning of this conversation, we talk of solid waste, liquid waste, and gaseous waste.
Yes.
Gas emission, every industry in line with National Environmental Health Practice Regulation, every industry must have a limited emission. And that anything that exceeds that will be liable to a fine. If you exceed your emission, if you discharge into the environment above the permissible emission, you will be fined and charged for that. So
who's there to checkmate that?
It is the duty of an environmental health officer to go for inspection.
Okay.
In conjunction with other government agencies like NESRA.
Okay.
So when you go out for this inspection, you notice that there are a lot of emission from that environment. In fact, from a distance, you start feeling a lot of problems. The presence of gas emission gives rise to what? Irritation of the eyes. give rise to skin problem, give rise to respiratory tract infection or diseases. So if those things are not checked, it will come back to us as human, as the community. So for you to establish us, you must pass through the approval procedures of the government. And government also need to be checking you, check your activities. If you are to have 2 generators here, and on the long run you have 3 generators, you know that one, the noise from here, the noise pollution will increase.
Of course.
Then the rate of emission will also increase. As a result of burning the fuel, the rate of emission will increase. And once it increases, it brings discomfort to the people living here or to the community.
Wow. Okay, so now there's a scenario that came to my mind as you were talking about this. I think I went to the salon one time, and the person in charge was just washing people's hair and allowing the water to just flow into the streets and flow into the roads, and people will just pass and walk past it. And when you tell them, why won't you look for a better way to dispose this water, they'll be like, we dey wet the ground for them now. Dust too much, make we help them wet the ground small. And it's as though nobody's checkmating that. But how do you get business owners, individuals to comply?
I give it to one of my boss, Sanitarian Mark ABCK. When we were working with him under Buhari Area Council in FCT, we try as much as we can to engage all these small business for a training. Many of them do not know the dangers they are posing in the environment. After you wash someone's hair with chemical, you discharge the chemical into the gutter, or in fact in an open space.
Yes.
Those things are not right. You should have a proper way of collecting those things. And even though you are going to discharge it, it shouldn't be in an open. You do your hair, you leave the environment littered with hairs. Fowl or chicken pass there, they pick it. As a result of that, their leg begin to cut, and they are alive. Your actions will lead to another life's death. You, as a result of your own activities, hair can find their way into someone's food. And once you take it in, it becomes a problem. Some of these things, he trained them. He trained them on how to manage their waste. Is it mechanic? He trained them. Is it small food handlers? We call them and train them. Is it car wash? Every premises, environmental health officer has the right to approach the premises.
Okay, so are there stringent rules or some measures that are taken that whoever defaults gets to face? Because we see situations where people just do what they want to do because they believe that nothing is going to happen. I think there was a certain time that in a particular environment when I was in school, what they do is they wait at night. If you have trash to dispose, when it's night, you can take it out and dump it anywhere. You wait in the night, you go, just dump it anywhere. So are there stringent or regulatory measures that are taken that when people, individuals, organizations do not adhere to the normal compliant rule that they're supposed to comply with, they have to pay some sort of fine or they have to face some sort of penalty? Are there those regulatory measures?
Yeah, thank you so much. There are regulatory measures. Just like I said earlier, what we have, the problem we have as a country is lack of proper enforcement. And people need to be enforced with in fact, iron hand before they can be able to comply. We have National Environmental Health Practice Regulation as amended in 2016. We have National Policy on Environmental Health, National Policy on Waste Management. We have National Regulation on Healthcare Waste Management, signed into law in 2017. We have a Federal Environmental Protection Agency, which is now called NESDRA. So these are laws. If you go into the law, there are strict punishment for every offenders. But the people who are in charge, who are supposed to go out and train these people on what to do, are not enough. Are not enough. So that is why I always call on local government or area council, the state government and federal government to engage these people. We have numerous of them, and for you to practice, you must have a license. We have over 12 to 14,000 licensed environmental health officers in Nigeria. But how many of them are engaged?
Why does it seem like in the line of health, there seems to be short hands? I said that because recently you see the trend of fake items everywhere, and the DG of NAFDAC was being interviewed. I watched the interview earlier, and she was also complaining about the fact that they have short hands. And from some of the clips of the bust that NAFDAC did, we saw a lot of, in fact, the environment where some of these fake consumables are being made is something you don't even want to talk about. The kind of what it looks like, how the waste are even being disposed, is another conversation. It's on a different scale of conversation. So in this kind of case now, and we talk about short hands here, short hands there, what should we begin to do?
Now, what we need to do, just like I always cried out, we are not many. We have a number of them who are licensed to practice. But how will you practice when nobody have engaged you? If you didn't allow me to be here this time, I will not be here. If you see me here, you ask question, what are you here for? And if you don't have authority to back you, then how will you be able to function effectively? So government, I know it is not only the responsibility of government to engage environmental health practitioners, but majority of the ones who have been giving out a franchise, we are talking of waste management, who has been giving out, are not engaging the right people. Right? You have an environmental health officer who will stand for you to register your company. But after registering that company, you abandon the person, because what is meant to come to him, you don't pay him. And after some time, instead of you to go back to that person, you don't want to go back to the person because you know that what you are owing the person, you can no longer pay. Then you look for other person else to come. And in the process of that, you find out that, okay, even though I don't engage anybody, nobody checkmate me, nobody question me. And the environment suffer the consequences of your action. Because what you are there is just to collect your money.
Absolutely.
But doing the work become the problem.
Wow. So now, another question I want to ask is, since you talked about waste being hazardous, is there a way that technology can help, or if it has already started, that you're able to identify the hazardous waste and the ones that are, safe, or that can be recycled? Because I'm sure if it's hazardous, it may not be recyclable. So if there are ways to actually, if there are technologies that can help identify some of them to help, mitigate the risk on our health.
Now, when you talk of technology, like as it is now, some countries all over the world have started having what we call waste to energy plants. And this waste to energy plant is a method of what? Transferring the waste into electricity in our environment. Nigeria can have one, at least to start with it. When you gather this waste, you put them in a machine, the turbine work on itself, then through the turbine, it can generate power or light. So what you think to be a waste now is now serve as a byproduct for energy generation. Many wastes can be what? Composed. When they're composed, they can be used as manure in the farm. Just like our feces, our shit. During our time when we were in school, we used to say shit business, na co business.
How's that?
Because this shit, we are throwing it away, we are defecating in the open anyhow, can be collected and gathered and then undergo treatment process. And at the end, you get water which can be used for irrigation farming. You farm your fruit. Then at the end, you can get the end product as manure, which can also be used in our farm. So is there a waste now?
At all.
Then the end product can be what? Properly disposed of.
All right. Thank you so much. But we need you to, in a minute, to educate our viewers right now. Just give them, tell them the importance of that proper waste disposal, especially in this season.
Now, the importance of waste disposal in this season or in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. So I want to encourage all of us, all Nigerians, wherever you are, that you keep on disposing your waste properly, because improper disposal of waste poses danger to your health and the health of everyone. There are a lot of clothes you have for over 3, 4, 5 years now that you are no longer using. Please, there are people outside there who need the clothes. Give it out as a way of also helping the society. Then the government on their part should look at the environmental health and help them to ameliorate the hardship that are bestowed on them by engaging them and then allow them to do their work by reaching out to people, educate the people, enlighten the people in our society. In so doing, our environment will be safe. And they say the health of a single man is the health of all.
Indeed. Thank you so much. The health of a single man is the health of all. I really agree with you. Thank you so much. It's a very good place to leave it for today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, viewers, I'm sure you've learned a lot this morning from our Environmental Health Officer, Sanitarian Egene Tijani Eneojo. And that's all, draw the curtains for today. I am Olamide Alhassan. I'll see you again next week. Bye.